Obviously, the reason I am talking about it now is it's simply because the topic is hot at the moment, for the simple reason that we have now several members of VShojo leaving the company. It started all with Silvervale and Weibei. They decided to not renew their contracts with VShojo. What people need to understand is that VShojo is not a typical agency. Because all members of VShojo were indie before, they were successful before they joined VShojo. The thing is, they joined VShojo probably because they saw benefits in doing that. Also maybe because they had friends there, so they thought it might make things easier for them. So the contract they signed back then was worth it. Now they decided it's not worth it anymore. Let's first go over the third member. We would like to inform you that Nianas has decided to not renew her contract with VShojo. Same shit again. We support the decision, blah, blah, blah. Same story. Was indie before, then joined VShojo. After the contract ended, she decided to not sign a new one. So she is, well, out again, right? She is not in any form dependent on a company. She's now fully indie again. Even when I think that VShojo members are very indie, no matter what. Like there never was some big things that this usually happens for agencies like, for example, Nijisanji or Hololive. VShojo members usually always felt like indies that kind of had this group in the background, but they usually did their own thing. It's not like you had collabs every week with those group members. So why is that interesting? Because Weibei did a little statement, right? Indie bitches, we, Silver, she. I can't speak for Silver because we didn't leave together. We were just announced on the same day. Probably the decision was still pretty close to each other, because if not, they would have just got their own post like Nianos just a few days later. Can't say much else because of legal shit. Of course, they are under NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. They are not allowed to say, they are probably not allowed to say anything specific about the contract, about the company, about reasons. Please be kind to everyone involved. Don't make weird rumors up to control or made up narrative. TLDR left cause new contract no good. It's interesting because Wei and Silver got pretty big within the time they are in VShojo, and I personally don't think VShojo was the reason for that. As I said, there never was big pushes from the company itself. And even when we are looking at the member, Wei has 550,000 followers. Looking at VShojo, it's the half of it, right? We could probably even look at Silvervale, and it would probably look very, very similar. And basically, with these three members leaving the company, like, I mean, they are not Nijisanji. They don't push out new waves every 3 months. And we don't know if there might be more people that are not particularly happy with the possible potential new contract they're getting. And even Kaysen did a statement a few hours ago. I mean, VShojo JP is treating me very good right now, but if there is an agent that can give me a way better contract, like giving me $1 million per month sponsorship, and if VShojo couldn't afford more, hell yeah, I'm down. Contracts are business after all. And then a lot of drama, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. The people, for whatever reason, are, in the VTuber space at least, are weirdly very, very loyal to the companies. I have no idea why. But yeah, yeah. It's also interesting that way is really clear, and for all indies, always hire a lawyer to read through any contract, however minor it may seem. So that is interesting because let's do a little exploration here. We have a lot of small agencies. Like, we're not talking about Shoujo, we're not talking about Holo, we're not talking about Niji, we're talking about small agencies, and a lot of these small agencies have very predatory contracts. Like, sometimes they're trying to be some form of VShojo, but then in the contracts, you're literally giving those companies the rights to your own models. Like, if you have a model before, you would lose it the moment you sign the contract. And there are so many horror stories that I just read, that I've heard over the last just 3 months. Not cool. These contracts are often, in some shape or form, predatory, where the talent is not going to benefit from them in any way. Smaller agencies, right? And even if the contracts are not predatory, it's usually not worth to join a smaller agency, because agencies are not looking for new VTubers. They are looking for VTubers that already know what their job is, that maybe already have some form of reach, some form of following, subscriber, whatever, that have some form of success. Because, as I showed you, like, the VTuber itself have so much more reach themselves. Probably the same with Kaysen. 750. Like, that's embarrassing, right? For VShojo, the main account. VShojo is not the reason why those people got big. That's important. And smaller agencies have the exact same problem. They know it's not an agency that has that it can provide from themselves any benefits to the creator. So what can they do? In the best case, they're able to give them a model. Like, that's usually what agencies do. And provide some form of training in terms of social media behavior and streaming behavior, how to create content in a successful way, and so on and so forth. Like, making them good. But usually, when you're hearing agency, like the whole system with releasing talents in waves and doing collabs and events, it's those small companies can't provide that in a way Holo Niji can. So, and I don't want to hang here on the browser for too long, but I think it's important to just go quick over those topics. Because if an agency is not able to provide you any benefits, what's the point of being in an agency? There is none. There's no point, basically. So, to understand what I mean, when I say that agencies basically can't benefit you as an indie, we have to understand the process of being a creator, of of being a creator, of growing, understanding all the bells and whistles that come with content creation, streaming, social media, etc. And I'm not going to say here that I am professional enough to have a very strong opinion here. But that's just what I see from outside. It's a little graph that I did. And it's basically the higher it is, the higher the point is, the more experience the creator has. XP, right? Let's do it like an RPG. And this is basically the time and I'm stupid and success. So what we can see is we have basically 3 parts, right? We have 3 parts. We have whip here, a big breaking point. Then we have a breaking point around here. So let's blah, 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 blah. This is basically blop, blop, the beginner area, right? This is where you are when you're starting out. You have no idea what you're doing. No idea what you're what you're doing. And there are a lot of breaking points. There are a lot of points where people stop doing things, right? Let's say you're completely new, right? Let's say you're completely freaking new. You have to find out how is streaming, like how to tackle that. And it's incredibly small. Second. So, CC, content creation, right? How to tackle content creation. Then you maybe have the question, how does the hardware work? How does the hardware work, right? How are you setting up your microphone? How does it sound good? How do you set up your stream, your webcam maybe, or your smartphone, combine it with your model? What's all that stuff, right? So when people get frustrated because they find out they have to learn all that things. So how does the software work? Holy shit! I myself probably quit the whole thing at this point 5 times or whatever. The moment I have to edit the video because I hate it so much, right? The same goes for the whole streaming thing, right? What's the software you're going to use? OBS, Streamlabs OBS, maybe something completely else? What platform? YouTube? Are you doing videos? Is it useful to do just one channel and do everything on this one channel? Or should you do 2 channels, like I do, for example? And basically split the streaming and videos because they are just different, more or less. Should you stream on Twitch or on YouTube? Maybe try something else? Kick? I don't know. And these 2 things alone are so much, or these 3 things alone are so much you have to learn. And a lot of people will just quit. Right? A lot of people will just quit. And then you're at the point when you get things running, when things work out, basically. And you don't see the success you want to see. And you quit. Again. So, why is that important? Because this is the point where theoretically an agency is able to provide you a lot, but they don't want you. Because they don't want to provide all that work, all that knowledge. You have to learn so much. You maybe need hardware and whatnot. And the amount of time and money they would basically have to invest in you is just not worth it with the amount of risks they are taking. Because there are just so many reasons why someone would just find out yeah, I really want to be a VTuber, right? But holy shit, I don't want to be a VTuber. You know what I mean, right? Like people that have that dream in their mind, but don't want to do the things that are necessary for that. These are also people that are just hanging around on Twitter all day, tweeting about, oh yes, soon I will debut. Just wait for my model. Just these are usually people that either never did the work to do that and are completely scared, afraid of actually trying to find out if they want to do this or not, because they're already invested so much into that dream, into that idea, that they just stop doing this. Just stop finding out if that is even something they want to do, they are able to do. Like, I don't know, I've sat in the stream 4 hours in the morning. My throat. Whew. I had to fight. That's why I'm sipping water from time to time. So that's basically the point where nobody wants you. That's not where they care about you. Not at all. The next part is, I would like to stretch that a little bit, to be honest. So then we are going into this part here, right? So this area. And this is the area for let's say advanced hobby. Or let's just call it advanced. Because a lot of people in that area are also doing it for a living already. So I just don't want to call them hobbyists or whatever. But that's important. What is here the point? Why is that important? This is the area, the experience area that you have, where you get all the basics down, and where there is almost no breaking point, whatever. I think the biggest breaking point is, if at all, down here. Like, we're not talking about health issues or whatever, right? We are talking about points where you decide for yourself it's not what you want to do. And the advanced region here, let's do a quick thing here again, because I think we should summarize why they don't want you. You have no idea of the job, no idea of the hard software, learning, and, or let's say, time and money investment high. Right? For agencies. That's a thing. Here, it's different. This is where the agencies hire people. That's basically the sweet spot for agencies. Let's just call it like that. Why is it? Because you know what you are doing. Already proven successful. Like, these are people that already have some form of some amount of followers, they have some amount of success, they spend some amount of time on the platforms, they know how shit works. They have maybe even a model, a high quality model. And I mean, high quality model is not like $8,000 expensive model, but just $500 to $1,000 model maybe, right? Let's say it's basically the people that want to transition from hobby to job. Makes sense, right? You know that you want that. I don't need to write it big. So, that's also important. You know that you want that, right? And the most important thing here is this: you know that you want that. There's no doubt that this is that being a streamer, content creator, VTuber is something that you want or that you don't want. If you find out that you don't want it, you will just leave somewhere here about. You will just stop here, or just doing it as a hobby, like very, very casual, but not made for success. And that's basically the sweet spot for agencies. Because why is that a sweet spot for agencies? They don't have investment. The people already bring some form of followership. If we are talking about Niji and Hololive, it's mostly about already proven successful. They know how to stream for longer times. They know what comes with that kind of job. And in the best case, they're also proven some form of talent. That's why you have those sheets where you should tell them what you can and can't do, like if you're able to sing, if you're able to, how many languages you're speaking, what and whatnot. And it's also a sweet spot for small agencies, because these are people that work. They can already see their streams, if that's something for the future or not. And they can basically provide some form of advantages. And those advantages are those that will come in here. That's what we're going to talk about now. And what can they provide? They provide basically a path to professionalism. In the best case, right? At least the big ones are able to do that. If that's the case for the smaller ones, maybe, I don't know. They're able to be some form of management. What they provide a management, right? Like that's what they do, at least. Often they manage collaborations between people. Maybe they provide a higher quality model to the talents. And they might also provide some form of education. Right, like we're talking about, I don't know, business. Let's call it just business education. Business education. In the best case. In the worst case, they don't provide that. And they have not the slightest interest in providing you that. Because, and that's when we're coming to the last part, they might not want you to have a business education. That's the point when we're coming to the whole contract stuff. Because in the worst case, it's they get you in with a good contract, or even then with a bad contract. And if you still lack business education after 1 year, 2 years, they might give you an even worse contract. But they can say, hey, your model, the thing you're working with, your identity, your channels are all ours. If you want to leave, you will be nothing. So in the worst case, if you're going to an agency and you have no business education whatsoever, you are, well, fucked. And that's important to keep in mind. So, and that's basically the point where both sides, in the best case, both sides benefit from each other. Because they help you to grow, and you are helping, or you're working to make money, and they get a cut from it. That's good. Yeah, right? That's basically the point where both sides are able to benefit from the whole relationship, basically. The problem is, when they provide you with a business education, you would like to make it big. And cursive. Is that the right word? Cursive? Right, big and yeah, whatever. That works only as long as the person has more success than a company is able to provide them. Or when just the talent understands that the agency is not able to provide more than they are able to provide for the agency. Because what then is going to happen, we are getting into the last part. I would like to have it more orange-ish. Just a little bit more orange-ish. This is the pro. And this is the point when something funny happens, because that is when you don't want an agency. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Why is that? Because at this point, when you're here, you are a professional. You're doing that for a living. Make a living of it, right? And the worst thing is, you have a shit ton of money, right? Because that's just what happens, right? At some point, you are growing exponentially, right? If you're big, it's more likely that you get more reach. The more reach you have, the more you're going to grow. The more you grow, more followers, and so on. It's a positive feedback loop. Positive in a sense of not yeah, it's cool, but in a sense of it adds to itself, basically. And that's the point when you realize, hey, the contract is really bad. That's when you might realize, hey, the Woobler. It's basically the point when you're able to choose your management. You have the money and knowledge to do most of the stuff yourself. You don't need groups for collabs anymore. That's the big thing for VShojo, for example. Like, they don't have any negatives from leaving VShojo. They can still collab with the members of VShojo. They can still do their job in a normal way. They don't lose anything, not their model, not their channels, not anything. Right? That's a big difference to Nijisanji. And I'm very, very sure, Nijisanji and Hololive, and I'm very sure that the talents in those agencies and I think mostly in Nijisanji. That's maybe important to know because Hololive itself has a structure that is hard to replicate as an indie, right? They have a very, very clear structure around the whole idol thing. The management does a lot. Like, holy fuck, they have soon their own Disneyland in Japan, right? Basically, they have the Hololive, Holo City, Hololive Village, whatever, right? They get this shit is not like something you can just do easily as an indie. You need a big ass freaking fucking company to do something like that. Nijisanji, on the other hand, I'm very sure that people like Vox would have not the slightest problem of leaving the company and doing incredibly well on their own. Because every time I'm looking at Nijisanji, it doesn't look like they provide them a lot. Like, I don't know, having a new costume from time to time, like, yeah, just hire an artist, just throw $2,000 at their head and then things will work out, right? You don't need an agency for that. Like collaborations, yeah, like you're big. Like, how big is Vox? How big is he? Let's see. Just 1.2 million. Just 1.2 million followers. And the only reason that I see why people like Vox are not quitting the company, except maybe the fact that they maybe have some really bad, really contracts, like they're not allowed to stream or make content after they leave, or I think the only reason why people like Vox and co are not leaving the agencies after they get so big is for the simple fact that they would lose their models, they would lose their channels, they would lose their identity, or their followers, everything. And they would probably have to deal with the very, let's say, emotional corpo VTuber bubble. Yeah, that's the point. But I think if Vox would decide to just do a thing on his own, he would do great. Absolutely great. I think he would still do great if he would just leave the company and make his own VTuber. The fans are so freaking fast to find out the new lives and previous lives of VTubers. It's crazy. But I think he would do great. And the problem is you can not just choose your management, but you have also leverage in negotiations. Right? If you're a big ass VTuber or creator in general, you have a say in which terms you're signing contracts, on which terms you're signing contracts. And that's the point when, let's get going to the browsers again, and that's the point when something like that happens. The VTubers realize, hey, this contract, they are stealing, quote unquote stealing. They have a really big ass cut, and I'm much better off with the management that they already have. And then they're just leaving because they have no. What's the consequence? Yeah, some angry fans, they will be angry for a week and then shut the fuck up. So what? So what? Like, huh? Why would you stay? That's the question. Why would you stay? And that's an interesting thing, right? And that's a problem I see with agencies. Because agencies have a very, very small frame. I mean, it's not particularly small. It's probably the biggest one of these three. Maybe not. It really depends on how successful someone actually is, of course, right? If you're skyrocketing, this thing would be a fifth of this size. But a lot of people are not that fast. So that might take years upon years. So that's what works. And that's where both parties can benefit from the relationship, right? That's where the agencies don't want you because they can't benefit from you. And here, that's a... God damn it. Sorry. That's where both sides benefit from the relationship. That's where the agencies don't want you because they can't benefit from you in a way. And that's where you can't benefit from an agency. From any agency, by the way. Except, as I said, Hololive, if you're really into the way Hololive handles things. But that's, well, let's say a niche at this point. And the problem is here, especially for small agencies, you exist to lose your... You basically exist for the reason to make your talents big enough that they don't have to care about you anymore. Does it make sense? Like it's literally like a child, right? You're raising them, you're feeding them, you're spending so much money on those kids. And then they just leave you, visit you maybe one time a year or whatever. It's very similar here. So I personally would say the best thing a small agency can do is, well, not be an agency. That sounds weird, right? Let me explain what I mean. The only way you're able to benefit, like you won't get anything if you're a beginner. That's just how it is. That is something you have to deal with yourself because you need it anyway. If you have a great agency in that case, in that part here or not, you have to know how shit works, how you're going to put out your content, hardware, software, blah, 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 all the stuff, right? You have to know how to set up things, and you know how to troubleshoot, and so on and so forth. Then, how is it possible? How is it possible to benefit from an agency and simply to not be an agency anymore? And that's the point where I think where people should leave the word agency as it is. Where it is. Just put that somewhere where nobody's going to see that and just call yourself, god damn it, management. Don't try to find indie VTuber, promising indie VTuber. And the important thing where you're coming in is, and I've seen that all those things are not in groups. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so right, you know. Okay, all right. So the only way you as an agency and a creator, you want to be in this frame, right? That's where things happen. And the only way to be in this frame, so both sides are able to benefit from it, is to not be an agency. Don't be an agency. Don't join an agency. Better be a management, a talent management maybe, right? We're talking about something like Mythic. That's the talent management from Asmongold and OTK. Because then you can just provide a management. You can still help them to be better creators. Help with sponsors. Take cut. Take a cut. And that's the most interesting thing here. That's the two things that you want to do as a management. Have good contracts that benefit both. Benefit both. Right? That's what you want to be as an quote-unquote agency. You don't want to be a hololive and small and unnecessary. You want to be a management. So you basically have to find a VTuber, or VTuber have to find you and apply. And then you can basically find out if it's worth it or not. Both of you, of course. So how is this different to an agency? And it's very simple. It does not provide a model existence and owns your channels. Wait, and owns your existence and channels. Because the great thing here is they can still help you with finding something like collabs. Because if they are a very good management, they will have a lot of clients. And if they have a lot of clients, they might help those clients to contact each other and do funny things with each other. You don't need waves or a clear agency. Or you don't. Right? Just would work in a very organic way. Right? That's basically VShojo, but be bigger, be broader. That's the only way that shit will work. But you should not claim someone's model. Help them, maybe help them find artists, right? Provide contacts. Like artists or other clients. So you're basically a vehicle for the creator to be better. And if you have a good contract, the people won't leave you. You will still benefit from them monetarily. Right? Because you are just the management, a very simple management. It helps them. But, and that's an important thing, you might be a management that is better than other managements because you are in the VTuber space. You are the or a VTuber management. You have experience with the with the things that are special for VTubers. And that's important, in my opinion. And that's the only way, in my opinion, to get small, quote-unquote, agencies to be beneficial for both sides long-term. So something like this just doesn't happen. And I think that's basically everything I wanted to say here. But yeah, that's basically the point. You want to be a talent management. Help them to be better creators. Help them to be successful, right? And you will benefit from them monetarily, easily, right? Help them with sponsors, take a cut. That's how you're making money. And provide them with contacts to artists and other clients. And have good contracts that benefit both parties, that don't feel predatory, because if they feel predatory, you will lose those people at least in the last stage. 100%. Or even earlier, because a contract is shit. And then you have something like Production Kawaii, where just the whole wave just noped out for whatever reason. But, oh my God, having a whole wave noping out, like, damn. You obviously did something very wrong there. That maybe shouldn't happen. Maybe. Yeah. And that's how it is. And I think it's important because I even think that the last point here is not a negative. Not at all. Because you are safe. You feel safe. You're not losing anything. Right? You're comfortable in your position. You have your model. You're owning your whole existence, your channels. You can just nope out. That's a very healthy, especially for you, healthy position to be in. But again, if you want to be in VTuber agency, don't be a VTuber agency. Try to be a talent management. Help those people that are already there to grow, to be better. Give them sponsors. Take a cut. That's how you're going to make money. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't have anything more to say here. I rambled a lot, I know. But I think it's overall it was worth it, right? To talk about it, and I'm very curious what your thoughts are about my way to look at agencies, especially small agencies. And tell me if you've learned anything, if you feel that helped you in any form of decision, maybe. Are you still going to apply for a wave of Nijisanji, Hololive, small agencies? Why? Tell me in the comments. I'm very curious. Does this little video, well, stop you maybe from doing it? Because I think especially the first part is a very bitter pill for a lot of people. They think, hey, I just need a beautiful model. And then I join an agency and then I'm just the next big ass talent XYZ, right? That's it. I'm good. I think I've said anything I wanted to say. Again, as always, my name is TechTrack, but just call me Teci. If the video was helpful, give me a like, subscribe, and maybe pay me a visit over at my main channel, Call Me Teci, where I'm doing reviews and I'm planning on doing timelines and maybe opinion pieces too from time to time. We will see. I wish you all a wonderful day, a wonderful morning, a wonderful day, a wonderful evening or night. And we will see us again, hopefully the next days when I finally have edited the Metal Gear Survive video. I hate editing so much. I hate it. But yeah, that's it. See ya.